Hello, this is Malorian, and I'm going to be going over basically the results and my thoughts of the Onslaught tournament. When they got to the end and they're announcing all the winners, it was really interesting how different it was between 40K and Fantasy because in 40K, for example, I have a good friend over there. When I heard how he did, he got a tie, a massacre win, massacre win, massacre win, and then for his secondaries, he hit a lot of them, right? He did very well. And he's like, no, I didn't win. And I thought he was crazy. Like, what are you talking about? But for 40K over there, it's a lot easier to get massacres comparatively. I mean, it could be a thing, I don't really know the situations, but it could be a thing where you need to be ahead by 1 kill point for the win, and then be ahead by 3 or 5 kill points for the massacre. Whereas in fantasy, you need to have 3 times the victory points of your opponent, which is very difficult to get. Usually the way you get it is by them just giving up, so it's just automatic. So, when I was looking at mine, where I had 2 massacre wins and 2 draws, that's kind of meh, but I knew I hit a lot of those big secondaries, and so I'd be somewhere up there. In the end, I got third overall for best general, so I was pretty happy with that. I knew I could have done better. I know there's others out there that did better, so I thought that was great. One of the things that did come up after is that usually for myself, I'm usually really boosted by my soft scores. I'm a really friendly person when I play. I don't have a fantastically good painted army, but it looks impressive. There's lots of models. All of them are at least done to an appealing look. And so usually whatever I get for general, if you look at overall, I'm a little bit higher. So I was rubbing my hands, but in the end, it didn't actually turn out that I was even in the top 3 overall. And the reason for that, I think, is that they really had a wide range of how you could be scored for painting. So usually when you look at a usual tournament, it might be on something like, say, like a 1 to 4 scale, and I'm usually up in the 3. But in this one, it was going up to, I believe it was a 7 scale, and at this point, I was like a 3, maybe 4, because when you got up to them, it was just like amazing conversions, Golden Demon, amazing army, all this stuff is just, and there were ones there. I mean, people that just put hours and years into armies where they're just finally highlighted and all this stuff. Like if you go back a few where I had that 3-way battle that had that one Dark Elf army, armies like that are just look fantastic, and mine just isn't there. And so when they went over the people that won the best overall, it was the people that had just fantastic looking armies. So there you had it. Didn't bother me. I had lots of fun out of my 4 games. I can't think of one that I didn't like. I had good opponents for every single one. Going through, I guess another thing to say now too is the whole idea, the whole secondary objectives, where you get to pick which one you want to go for right after deployments. You have to kind of guess what you're going to be going for and push for it, and different risks and different rewards. I thought that was a fantastic system. But now let's break down how I think that my different units did. My Great Shaman as a general did fantastic. Foot of Gork obviously just won me pretty much both those games against one against the Ogres. And anyway, it just won a fantastic spell. And on that note, yeah, Ogres did not really have a chance. I thought they're going to be there. They were there. And yeah. I think in future tournaments, they're actually going to be more scary. I think in this tournament, you're going to see a lot more players where it was a brand new thing. They brought out their stuff. It was shiny. And then they're going to fall away, and the more dedicated ogre players will be staying. And that's where we're going to be seeing the hordes of, say, 24 bulls and just smash you in the face. So I think they'd be more dangerous later, but as far as this tournament, they didn't do so hot. Anyway, I did not miss having a war boss at the save points that we have more things. I was never let down by leadership. That's mainly because my BSB with a +1, so everything was always fine there. Savage Orc Biggins always do great. My Black Orcs always do great. My Squeak Herd Horde did better than usual, which was fantastic. The Orc Archers, they didn't do much, but they weren't supposed to do much. I mean, the points could have gone somewhere better, but if nothing else, at least they acted as a backup bunker. On that note, the Night Goblin bunker, fantastic as always. The 2 fast cav units, Most of the games, they were pretty pointless. They were really nice to have when I was against a dwarf player, where I needed to be just kind of sacrificing units to save my bunker and save my characters. So they really came in handy there. As did the single troll. That one game against the second ogre player, where I got to set it up so that I could have two combat blocks against his one. That's all because of that single troll being able to run up there and slow him up, bog him down. Uh, Past that, chariots did their usual thing. I was kind of let down by the wolf chariot again. Just the lower toughness, the lower armor save, the one less wound. I mean, it is cheap, but it's cheap for a reason. So, I mean, I would love to take another board chariot, but they are more expensive. Uh, Usually, they're nice to have to be throwing in to have a little bit of support, but usually my blocks don't need support. So maybe in the future I'll take those out. But overall, I was pretty happy with my list. One thing that I should really talk about, though, is that I've been riding a pretty nice wave because before, orcs and goblins were seen as the fun army, right? They always lost. Whoever took them just took them because they love orcs, and I really jumped into that, trying to make them competitive. I was starting to make them competitive even back in the last edition, and once I got the new edition, the new book, it is so strong. But I was riding the wave where people would still see me and go, oh yeah, it's the orc player, that's fantastic, oh look at that cool army. Well, this tournament, I think, really marks the first time where people saw my orc and goblin army and said, oh look at that, look at, I mean, that's a tough army. And so I think especially that very last game, looking across the board and seeing my opponent just kind of like sullen and not very interested. It kind of reminded me back in the days where I used to be the old win by any cost type of player, doing with my vampire counts, right? Where I'd be setting up my vampire counts and I could see in my opponent's face they do not want to play against my army. So I might be actually backing away from my orcs for a while now, because the big thing I love about them is the fact that, you know, people love playing against them, right? They're fun to play with. People love to play against them. I still love using them, but if my opponents don't like playing against it, it's going to take some of the fun out of the game. So either we have to find a way to scale things back, taking out my usual crutches like the Black Orcs, the Savage Orc Biggins, or maybe I'll have to start moving on to a softer army that's something else. Maybe I'll go back to my Wood Elves. I don't know. So anyway, that was a big eye-opener. Thanks for everybody that watched all my videos, and I should have another tournament coming up next month, but you don't have to wait that long because there'll be more battle reports along the way. So thanks for watching. Bye.